The scientists used to say that when you become older and older, then you will suffer from dementia. Your brain will stop functioning. They used to say it like that. But according to Buddhist teaching, they always said that no. If you keep on training your mind, even when you physically become old, your mind can still remain fresh and alert. That was Buddha's teaching. But the scientists used to say, no, the brain will gradually die and you will suffer from dementia, forgetfulness and everything. Okay? But now the scientists are saying, according to the recent research, they are talking about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity. Neuro means nerves. If you train them, if you keep on working, they become plastic, elastic. You see? So that means if you keep on training them, you will be fine mentally even when you become old. So that's good news, you see. Okay? So therefore it's important just to keep on training your mind. Then you can slow down dementia. You can also upkeep your memory. But if you don't exercise, don't give task to the brain, then there will be road blockage. You see, just like in the forest, if there is a very tiny road, if we don't keep on walking that road or cleaning that road, then after some time it will be covered by leaves and branches and twigs and dirt, so that we'll not find our way next time. But if you keep on walking, then the road remains clear. So there are neural pathways through which you send signals. So just by training continuously, you can make your mind fresh and elastic. Okay, so therefore, with this understanding, and then it gives some examples by saying that the fact that we have obtained this human life is so difficult. It is like seeing the star in the day. Do you see star in the day? No? Very difficult.
We don't have here.
Huh? You have no star?
In the day, no, only in the night.
Yeah, exactly. Not only here, but everywhere. Everywhere. So just as star is very difficult to see in the day, likewise, obtaining human life is very, very difficult. There is a story of a Tibetan Lama who once was saying the same thing, that it's very difficult to have human life and things like that. Then somebody did not like this teaching. He said, oh, Lama is talking like this because he had not visited China. Because in China, so much population at that time, number one population, you see. So, of course, if we think about the whole world, you know that human population is so much. It looks so much. It's not very difficult to obtain. So because of that, many people ask me the question, why is it so difficult? There are so many people, you see. So what is your answer? I did not have an answer in the beginning. So later on I tried to give an answer. My answer is, when we talk about precious human life, we are probably not talking about life of everybody, all human beings. Especially those who engage in very destructive ways of life, we cannot call their life precious human life. So here we are talking about precious human life. So those precious human beings with such kind of compassionate, loving mind, those precious human beings are very little. Their population is very small. Is that clear?
No, yes.
It's very difficult, you see. Just human life is too much. But even human life, if you compare to other animals, other insects, still human population is nothing. If you look at the ants, countless, or birds or many other, countless. So comparing to them, again, human life in general is much less, human population is much less. But even within human population, those who are really noble and kind, those life is very, very rare, like stars in the day. Okay, so there's the meaning. Then it also gives, I'm just giving you some example. And it also gives an interesting example by saying that while we are all talking here, if we suddenly see an insect, say an earthworm, okay, moving here, goes near the altar and gets up and bows to the bows to the Buddha's image. Is that possible? Impossible, very difficult. So like that, human life, precious human life is very difficult. Like finding that one. So it gives a lot of examples like that. Then there's another story of a person who had problem with his leg, lame, who was lame. So he just fall down somewhere. And when he fall down from some higher place, down somewhere, there was a wild horse sitting. So he fell on the back of that wild horse. The wild horse, out of fear, started running, got up running. And this lame person, also he was full of fear, so he just managed to hang on to that person. No, sorry, that wild horse. And then the wild horse kept on running. He was so full of fear. Then this lame person, who is now on the wild horse, he came back to his senses. In the beginning he was full of fear. Now he realized that he is riding and galloping on this wild horse. Then that was unbelievable to him because his legs were not functioning. He cannot ride properly. But somehow out of fear he managed to, cling on to that. Then when he came back to his senses, he started singing. You know what he sung? He said, a lame person being able to ride on a wild horse is once in a while in life. So if I don't sing today, when should I sing? So like this, very difficult. So obtaining this precious human life, this time is, very difficult like that. Then, having obtained such a precious human life, the text is saying that do not indulge in wrong ways of life, which is not fit for a human being. As I said, there are areas which animals can do better than the human beings. So don't be proud if you are able to do many things which even animals can do. So don't waste your time on those things. That is what the text is saying. For example, it gives an example. There are a lot of examples, but one example is in terms of bravery. We wage a war and think, you get heroes welcome, we think we are brave. But the text says there are some birds, a kind of hawk group kind of bird. It tells the story of a kind of hawk chasing the pigeon. And when they try to hit the hawk tries to hit the pigeon. When they are unable to hit the pigeon, instead, when they hit on some rock or something, they're so powerful that sometimes they are able to produce cracks on those stones and rocks. So they are so brave, they don't hesitate in hitting with full force, without hesitation. So some birds, even birds have those kind of capacity. Then in terms of dexterity, skill, it talks about another bird. I don't know how to translate this into English. That there's one kind of bird which catches some heavy animals and then takes it in the sky, but it's so heavy he cannot hold more, and he releases it, the male releases it, and the female comes, takes it in the space. She carries a little further, she cannot carry it, she releases, the male comes and takes it. So they have such kind of skill, dexterity. The birds also have that. In terms of fighting with the enemy, it talks about a nest of a crow. At one time when the parents were not there, owl takes the young crows and taking the heart out, it kills that young crow. And then this male crows realize this and chases the owl to such an extent that they are able to finally kill that owl. So in terms of fighting, animals can do that. And we know that now. I don't have to read more, because if you watch the wildlife, it's all there, you see. It's all there. And when I was studying in the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, there was one tiny insect, yellowish one. He used to come in the summer when I was reading text, and he would just bring very fine muds and put it little by little on the wall and making almost like a pouch. Very nicely polished pouch like this, very nicely stuck on the wall. And then he goes and kills smaller insects and bring it one by one. Put it, I have seen with my eye, put it there. Then he seals it. Then after several months, somewhere in winter, he comes back and takes those out and eat. You see? So there are so many, like this book is a whole thing about those kind of experiences. You see? So therefore, the first preliminary is remembering the preciousness of human life. The second preliminary is remembering impermanence. Although human life is very, very precious, but how long are we going to live? There is the challenge. And the Buddhist teaching says, and which we will all agree, that death is definite. Do you agree? Death is definite. If you read the whole human history, you will not find a single person who managed to escape death. Death is definite. The time of death is indefinite, unfortunately. Just like death is definite, time of death is also definite. Then we can have fun first and then prepare. But time of death is indefinite. It can come any time. But if we think about that, it really shakes us whole being. But normally we don't think so. It looks okay, you see. But the time of death is indefinite. I'll tell you a story. There is a story of a human being who made friendship with a ghost. That ghost is said to have some kind of clairvoyance, precognition. So that the human being said, "My dear ghost friend, I'm a little bit scared of death, but I want to have some fun in life also," which we all do, you see. I want to have some fun in life also. So little bit before my death, little bit in advance, please tell me, because you have precognition. Then I will spend my time doing Dharma practice. The ghost friend said, okay, fine. So time passed. And after some time the ghost friend came and says, my dear friend, last night somebody, a member of the family down there died, passed away. He said, oh, so sad, poor thing. But he continued his life as usual. Time passed. After some time, the ghost friend again came and he said, my dear friend, last night somebody from the family up died last night. He said, oh, so sorry, poor thing. What unfortunate. But he continued his life as before. Then after some time, the ghost friend came and said, my dear friend, it is your turn to go. I said, what? I told you to tell me a little bit in advance. The ghost friend said, I have never seen such a stupid person like you. I told you 2 times. The friend down there passed. The friend up there passed. I mean, when they are dying, you should be able to understand that your time is also very soon. So that's the thing in our case. How many times, if we can write a long list, how many people we have seen dying. We may be shaken up just for a short time. Then after that, welcome back to the same familiar world. We forget everything. Because we forget everything about death, impermanence, we don't prepare. Even when you go to, say, New Delhi or America, you need to do some preparation. You need to make sure that air ticket is bought. It's confirmed ticket. Your taxi is booked, whatever, you see. Your hotel is booked. Even for such short journey, we make such preparations. But for the long journey, especially the journey to the unseen, unknown world, no preparation at all. So without any preparation, if you have to take this journey, you can well imagine how would you fare in the travel. So therefore, these spiritual practices are not only for peace and happiness in this life, but more importantly, preparation for many lives to come. Successful journey for many lives to come. As we already said, death is definite. Time of death is indefinite. And third thing is that at the time of death, the only thing that will help you is spiritual practice, Dharma practice, nothing else. Does it make sense? Because at the time of the death, your friends cannot help you. The wealth you have accumulated after having worked so much is of no use at all. It could even disturb your mind. You might even start regretting, oh, I have worked so much, but now I can't use it, you see. Your mind may develop more attachment to those possessions and belongings. You see. So the one thing that will help you at that time is if you had made your mind habituated with the spiritual practices. Because those habits of mind will go with you wherever you go. Yesterday I gave you the example of being violent in the day and a habit is formed of the mind and you experience that same fight in the night. So similarly, that habit, forming the habit, is very, very important. That's why we talk so much about meditation. You meditated this morning. Meditation. Meditation is not just sitting in a corner with certain physical postures. Meditation means making your mind habituated with positive ways of life. That's meditation. Meditation is done by the mind. The mind getting habituated with love, habituated with compassion, habituated with wisdom, that's real meditation. Real meditation. Because as I told you earlier, you are controlled by your mind. Your mind is predominantly controlled by negative emotions. Therefore we are suffering. Therefore we are having problems. So meditation means meditating on positive virtuous qualities. It's very clear. We don't need our mind to meditate on negative emotions like anger, because in those areas we are already expert. We are highly advanced practitioners in negative emotions. So, but not in the virtuous practices. So meditating means getting habituated, making your mind compassionate, making your mind loving, making your mind full of wisdom. That's called meditation. It's not just closing your eye. Meditation is not just feel-good practice. Many people today in the busy modern world, they work, as I said, forgive me using the bad word, work like a donkey in the whole day. Then in the end of the day go to a Dharma center. There are many Dharma centers now in the world. So they go to a meditation center, retreat center, Dharma center, and then sit there. And then they fall asleep or half sleep. Then after they wake up from that sleep, they say, wow, the meditation was so good. You're not at all doing any meditation. But you felt good because you have been working like a donkey the whole day, you are tired, and you took some rest, so you thought it is good. But that's not meditation. That's not meditation. Many people are doing that. I am not jealous about that. It's good, they are getting some benefit. Even if they are able to take rest, that is good. But that's not the real meditation. Real meditation, even if you talk about this word concentration, if you suddenly find this house on fire, what will you do? Will you concentrate or not? Will you concentrate? Or will you say, oh, there is fire, let me finish my tea? Will you say something like that? Yesterday when we were driving on the road, we saw one car burning on the road, fire. So on such a situation, for example, if your head is on fire, what will you do? You will concentrate and immediately douse the fire. Nobody will say, oh, let the head get fire, I need to finish my cup of coffee. No, nobody will say like that, you see. So when there is difficulty, when there is problem, concentrations come automatically. But normally we don't see the problem, we don't see the risk, we don't see the danger, we don't have the Dharma knowledge. We don't know how destructive ignorance is. We don't know how destructive anger is. We don't know how the death is soon coming. So we never think about the travel, we think about living. So therefore, if you live, you need so much. Oh, I need a better car. This car is worn out, I need a better car. Oh, this house is not good, I need a better house. You spend whole your life working like a donkey, not preparing for the long journey. Not preparing for the long journey. So therefore, once you develop this understanding and awakening of the reality of impermanence and death, that will really provoke you. That will really activate you to do things. Because things are impermanent, you are not sure how long you are going to get time. So do it. Do the good thing right now, as soon as possible. So that when the time comes, you are prepared. When the time comes, you have nothing to regret or repent or hang over, you see. Very important. And then also you have the realization that it's difficult to get this precious human life again and again. So that also is another reason to pay more attention to your practice. So therefore, remember this one. Therefore, the first teaching that the Buddha gave was on impermanence. The last teaching that the Buddha gave was on Huh? Huh?
Happiness.
The last teaching, the first teaching that the Buddha gave was on impermanence. The last teaching that the Buddha gave was on impermanence. Exactly. Because if you have this understanding that very soon you are going, and you are not sure when you are going, it's like enemy. It's like being sure that the enemy is there coming towards you, and not sure when the enemy is going to attack you. Then you have to remain prepared and alert all the time. If you know that the enemy is coming next year, at least you can take some rest right now. But the enemy is coming and not sure, it's imminent, it's coming anytime, not sure when, then you have to remain alert. I think you have a lot of experience here. You have some experience here in Israel? Little bit, not much. Okay. So like that, you see. Like that. So therefore the first teaching that the Buddha gave was on impermanence. Because the first teaching that the Buddha gave was the Four Noble Truth. And out of the Four Noble Truth, the first teaching was the truth of the suffering. And the first feature of the truth of the suffering is impermanence. If everything is impermanent, if you read the Bodhisattva way of life, it says, how could one develop so much attachment to one? How could one who is impermanent can develop so much attachment to one who is impermanent? How could one who is impermanent hate somebody who is impermanent? Beautiful teachings, profound teachings, you see. And I had given you the example of the three criminals. Remember that. And the last teaching that the Buddha gave was also impermanent. He called his monks around. See, then he said, okay, now I am also passing away. So look carefully about the body of the Buddha. He took his clothes out and said, look carefully. Even this body of the Buddha is going to disintegrate. That was a teaching, you see. That was a teaching. Because much of the problem that we get is, as I said earlier, grasping, seeing things as independent, absolute source of peace, absolute source of happiness. I am absolute. I am going to, especially when you get angry, how dare you say these things to me? Me, who is existing from here independently. And with this false idea, false notion, you don't hesitate to jump in front of a gun and get killed. You see?
You call it courage, no?
You call it brave person. You see? And even this notion of brave person is misleading. Because if you kill one person in the city here now, you will be called a murderer. But if you kill hundreds and thousands in the battlefield, you are called a hero.
I'm confused.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm just confused. That's
Yeah,
it.
because this lunchtime, you should get confused.
What?
Lunchtime, this is lunchtime.
Ah, that's why.
Yeah, that's why you get... I'm joking. Yeah, so what is your question? So we stop here actually, yeah?
It looks like many situations are ambiguous. Like you can, like the example you gave with the brave, you can call it stupidity. A lot of, I don't know yet. I'm confused. I don't understand exactly the situation.
No, we are all
you can call
confused.
them, and they are one of opposite of the other. Many situations like
Yeah.
them,
True.
they are one opposite of the
True.
other. So I'm
True. Number one, you are right. Not only you, we are all confused.
yes.
If we are not confused, then why should we seek wisdom? Why should we seek knowledge, Because there is a confusion, because there is ignorance. And we don't want to suffer because of confusion and ignorance. That's why we are studying, you see. So there is no push button enlightenment. You see, you just push one button and all your confusions gone, ignorance gone. Not like that. The fact that